What do you think about that?
Yeah, I don't have an issue per se that they're supporting Holden, but I believe that they need to lock Holden in, that there's no packing up and going in 2020 or 2022, whatever it is. But yeah, there's an equity issue certainly, and it comes back to grant funding is a bit aligned with that as well, where certain industries and certain sectors at times get a bit of a leg up where others don't, and why is that? And government should have a level playing field.
You wanted to talk a bit more this morning about government funding,
about grants. Just primarily about sporting grants per se, because Sport and Rec, Department of Sport and Rec, or whatever they're called now, I think they've got a long-winded name with
they all do,
with a whole heap of things there now. But they'll have funding coming up soon, which is infrastructure funding, club development funding, participation funding. There'll be a whole range of different funds that'll be available over probably open the next week, I think. And I just want to flag it with sporting clubs that and non-profits in general that there are still heaps of funding opportunities out there. Yes, the government did cut a lot of funding to non-profits, but there are funding opportunities out there. If they're smart, if they're strategic, they can get funding. And so, next week, Sport and Rec will have funding available. Sporting clubs across Queensland need to get into it.
So what kinds of things are you talking about here? Funding for what?
Infrastructure. So it could be lights, could be upgrading your fields, could be that you're going to have an open day and you want to encourage more participants to your club. There's a whole range of things. Could be equipment. There's a lot of things there that Sport and Rec will be fund. Depends on when it opens, what are the particular categories. But there'll be lots of things. But then you've still got gambling, community benefit fund, Jupiters, volunteers. There's loads of funding opportunities. You've just got to know where to look. Yeah,
well, that's your area of speciality. So how do people actually make an application for these things? Obviously, they can go through you at Red Tape Busters. Going direct, how do they do that?
Yeah. If they go direct, you contact Sport and Rec, you download the application form, you have a look, work out exactly what they require, what answers you have to give, what supporting documents you have to give, and just follow the bouncing ball. It's not easy and it's not hard. It's not rocket science, but you've really got to pitch your case well.
And this is your area of expertise and speciality. So
tenders and grants are our 99% of our business now.
And helping our listeners is the other part.
Well, that's right,
exactly. And you're always getting a lot of success, including for one listener with respect to a camera fine, saving the listener over $1,000. Well done.
We talked about that a number of months ago
now.
And what it was he runs a rental vehicle firm over in Boondall. And one of his drivers, one of the people who'd hired the vehicle, had got a camera offence. They obviously deal with these things regularly. They filled out the stat deck, sent it in. The stat deck got lost. And so then not only did he get the fine, but he got the multiplier effect because he's a business. So he got the 7 times the fine, which meant it to be $1,100. He then complained to police and said, hey, well, I sent this stat deck in. Police weren't interested, really. It was basically too hard. Bad luck. I got on the case, I think, in April. I've followed up a couple of times with the Minister's office. Didn't get anywhere, didn't get any response at all. And then suddenly, out of the blue, I sent another email off, and suddenly, out of the blue, last week, we got an email back to the listener saying, yes, now they've seen fit that it's wrong and the fine will be waived. So it took a while, but we got there.
They must see your name on the bottom of these things. Oh, no.
This bugger again. Well,
here he comes again.
We'll either ignore him but the thing is that if they ignore me, that just gets my stress level.
I had a hunch.
Higher, and I won't wear it. So anyway, we got a good outcome. So that was the end result.
I've been meaning to ask you, how'd you get into what you do now? Because you were in a senior position in the public service, and you were doing very well there, and so you know how the whole thing operates. How'd you then end up?
It was a bit by default, because initially we were going to be consultants to public transport companies, because that's the area that I was in, and we started off as that. My ex-business partner and I started off as that. I also was writing job applications for friends in the public service when I was in there, because I was known as the job application guru and the interview guru. Right. So I did that, and when we got out, I threw that in the mix and we did that. Then a friend who runs a big concrete firm asked us, we've got a drama with this vehicle, and Queensland Transport have put it off the road. It's costing us thousands. Can you help us? So we sorted it, didn't know anything about it, so we sorted it out, and he said to us, this is a business. And we laughed at him and said, no, this is no business. Nobody will do this. Anyway, we got a couple of other friends who we helped resolve some issues. And then, funnily enough, I was watching Brisbane Extra on a Saturday, and they had a story about the 5-step waltz. And I thought, how is that a story? And I said to my business partner at the time, I think we can get on Brisbane Extra about us helping people deal with government. He said, no, they'll just laugh. So I rang them and they said, what a great story. They called us red tape busters because we were not red tape busters at all. Then later on, a current affair did Brisbane Extra. We got on Brisbane Extra lots and said that's how it all started. So people just asked us different things. And then people said, oh, do you write government grants? And we went, oh, no, we don't write that, but we can do it better than you because we're public servants, so we must be able to do it.
We see that's the interesting thing, isn't it? There was the presumption that people know how to do that kind of stuff, but I get lost with those forms. And I think a lot know people do. So
no idea.
You know how to do it.
So there's, we've built a little business now dealing with government departments and councils for people, writing job applications, doing grants, tenders, business plans. We do heaps of stuff now that we would have never thought of.
All good. He's a great bloke too, for a Manly supporter as well. Eh?
Oh, yeah. Well, they had a win.
Yeah, you did have. Well, your team's going well, but I felt sorry for Steve Maddai for the first time ever. Well, I didn't quite feel sorry for Steve Maddai, but I thought it was very unfair what the Parramatta bloke did to him. It was,
but he shouldn't have been where he was, and he was probably going to go the knuckle anyway.
Steve?
Would
Steve Maddai do such a thing?
What was he doing over there? But look, one of those things, and yeah, in the end, and now I'm worried because when they play Parramatta, there's going to be a square up, and knowing how Steve tackles, he's likely to go high and get sent off or something. So no, we don't want that.
He can't afford to be doing that, can he? Any other updates we need to bring?
Yeah, we've had a few issues with listeners ringing in about fines that have wrong information. So it might be incorrect rego number, date, things like that. Can they get out of them? In the old days, you used to be able to get out of them because you'd say, hey, this is wrong. They couldn't take it to court, so basically they'd drop it. Now the legislation is such that they can reissue the ticket with the right information and just reissue it with correct stuff. So you can't get out of it. So pretty much, look, if you've got an issue with that, you can write in. What will happen, it will delay your payment of the penalty. They'll reissue the ticket, but eventually you'll have to pay. So there's no real avenue of getting out of it.
Good stuff, Shane. Always good to see you. Appreciate you coming by and all the things you do on behalf of
Just one last thing, Greg. There's a couple of issues for listeners I haven't got back to because of the school holidays. Yep. I was playing Mr. Dad with my stepdaughter, so I will get back to them over the next couple of days.
Good on you, Shane. Always does. Shane Bowering, Red Tape Busters. That's the website too,
yeah, redtapebusters.com.
Good on you, mate. Thanks to Queensland Security Solutions, where you get results, not excuses. QueenslandSecuritySolutions.com. Trivia question for